Hi Legionnaires, Steve Cox here with you from High Tech Legion. If you're limited on space but you need to get the most out of that space for your work or your gaming rig or anything you need a computer for, I have here Thermaltake solution in a mid-tower case. This is the Urban T21. It says simple yet elegant right there on the box. I want to get it over there, see how elegant and simple it is. You can see the box has a line drawing of the case itself. And of course it has all the specs and everything over here on the side. And we'll take a better look at that as soon as I get it on the table. And we'll get it opened up and see just exactly how elegant and simple the case really is. Alright guys, so here we are. We get a little better look at the Thermaltake Urban T21 box. Again, the line drawing, simple yet elegant, has their web address down here at the bottom, www.thermaltake.com. On the side, we get a good idea of the specifications, your model number, your case type. It is a mid-tower. It gives the dimensions and the net weight, all things I'll provide in the written part of the review. All the different kinds of cooling system you can get, rear exhaust, front intake, side intake, bottom intake, really some kind of standard stuff, and then all the expansion slots. But let's just get right to it and get into the case itself. Alright, I think the first thing we'll notice when we actually look at the case itself, it's a little bit deeper than it is tall, which just kind of makes it look a little bit long. You do have a small window here and then some ventilation on the side. There is not currently a fan there or in the vent on the top. The case comes with two fans, one for an intake and one for an exhaust. Of course, it does come with a little user's guide or a general manual. Probably covers warranty and everything like that. Covers installation, things like that, and I'll be doing that for you myself. And it comes with its own set of screws and actually some unique tie downs. Instead of just zip strips, these look to be reusable tie downs. They have I don't know how well you can see them. I'll get you some white background to see them, but it's just a little beaded strand, and when you feed it through there, it locks in place and then you can unhook it. So that's going to be nice, reusable instead of zip strips which have to be cut off and thrown away. But other than that, basic stuff, speaker and some screws. So we'll get in to the case itself. Again, the side panel you'll see comes right off using the standard thumb screws. Slides back and right off there. And then you can see inside all the toolless Thermaltake. Well, I didn't mean to drop it. You just turn the knobs and the toolless comes right out. You can see the latching here that fits into the panels here. And that's adjustable, so you can slide it forwards or backwards a little if you need to set up for your depth, for depending on what kind of optical drives or anything like that you use. Alright, so getting a little better look inside, you can see that this Thermaltake Urban T21 is set up to have some basic cable management with a couple of clips here, and of course it did come with those unique tie downs, but you can see right away that really it's not going to have a lot of behind the panel cable management. Behind the motherboard tray there you can see that there are no big lines of tie downs. It doesn't have the little hooks built into the back side, and I haven't opened up the back, so there may be something else back there, but I want to point out how the hard drives are going to be installed here. They're going to sit in there just like that. So all of your hard drive cables are going to be right there. They're not going to be tucked in the back and hidden around the corner. So the hard drives slide in here just like that using the toolless, and that fits in and clips in there. So that's how that's going to work. And I'll get to that in the actual installation, and of course once I have everything in here, we'll take a good look at it. But that's just the first thing you notice when you open it up, or at least it's the first thing I notice when I open it up. Totally unique system for the hard drive bays, and then the amount of cable management that we can expect from it. Other than that, you can see full-size ATX motherboard supported here with the standoffs already in place. You do have 2, 4, 6, 7 expansion slots across the back, and there is room for some routing of, you know, water cooling systems or anything like that. And again, it has the position on the top for a radiator or a fan or anything like that, and it does have some dust filter kind of there. Basically this exact same thing, just a little screen on it that clips into place. It doesn't really look to be removable, but you can wipe it right off or blow it off pretty easily. Taking a look at the front of the case, you can see the brushed metal look of the door. Going to give that a uniform, pretty nice look to it. And when you open it up, you can see you have your optical drive bays here, which clip or unclip those, and that's pretty solid, pretty nice. And those are going to slide right in, and it looks like you have one place for a hard drive here, and I don't know why I can't get it out. There we go. But so one place to put a hard drive, possibly hot swappable if you needed it. There's not a connection already built in there, but and I don't have the clips out of the side. And then of course in the front you have your intake fan with a little screen filter, and there looks like a pretty solid fan. Looks like it'll move plenty of air, and of course we'll be testing the overall cooling of the case itself. Moving around to the other side, you can see there is a raised edge here, kind of a panel with a slightly raised piece, so that there will be some cable management back here, if nothing else. I'm going to get in there and get a good idea of what we can expect. Alright, like I said, there are no real tie downs here. There's a couple of holes here that are really just for other things, and it does have these clips for the front. So for example, instead of the cabling for the power supply coming through the back and being hidden back here, it'll just clip on the front side there. So the cable management of this case is not going to be that great, but it's a very small, pretty unique, smaller mid-tower case. So that's not something I would expect in a case this size, is a lot of great cable management. But other than that, looks like we're going to have some decent cooling and lots of extra options. And let's just get the build started. Alright guys, welcome back. We've been doing the component installation inside the Thermaltake Urban T21. And while I have to admit, I originally liked the idea of the smaller case, and I thought it was going to be pretty simple, and in fact building in it is very simple. I honestly have the wrong kind of hardware for this case. The motherboard is too large, my cabling is too big. You can see my AIO water cooler is pretty badly bunched up here. I could have turned the actual CPU mount around to give myself a little more room to work with, but I honestly just didn't feel like it. But you can see in there that it's all very, very tight, and once I try to put the graphics card in here, I'm honestly questioning whether or not it's going to fit with these wires here. And with this hard drive here, I may need to move the hard drive down out of the way. which isn't that big a deal in itself. But basically, at this point of the game, you know, in this day and age where so many cases with such great cable management are available for, you know, very, very inexpensive prices, I really question the reasoning behind any company who would build a new case, design a new case with effectively zero cable management at all. You can see all my cables are in the front. There is nowhere in the back to put them. I've tucked as many as I can away. Let me spin this around. Tucked as many as I can away back here. I haven't really got them tied to anything, but I'm just going to let them get held down behind the panel here in this little area beside the hard drive bays, which is fine, and that'll probably work. But again, with nowhere to tie it down and no real cable management of any kind, the front is very messy looking, even at the top. If you can see here, if I did want a fan at the top, there's basically no way that's happening, not with a radiator in the back. And even then, my radiator fits, it's very tight. You can see I'm touching here and really had to finagle it in there. Again, obviously the case is not really designed for this kind of hardware. I'd probably be much better off with a more budget-oriented build, something with, you know, maybe only SLI instead of quad SLI or crossfire, as it were, whichever the case may be. But I have 4 PCIe slots on this motherboard. It's very large. It really does take up every single inch of space. There's not even enough room for my pinky on either side of this motherboard. It does fit nicely, but again, the cables are my main concern at this point. And again, questioning whether or not the graphics card is going to fit in there at all as it is. I'm going to have to work on it some more. You can see if the graphics card comes out of this slot here, these are going to be making contact. Alright, I've got the graphics card in there. As I suspected, I had to move that hard drive to avoid collision here at the corner, but that's not that big a deal. There's plenty of space, so you'll just have to give up that top hard drive space to get extra long graphics cards in there. And again, this first slot here, that lines up with the front port, so you won't be able to use that either with an extra long graphics card in there. And again, this graphics card is pretty long. That is the 280X with Tri-X cooling from, obviously, Sapphire. I went ahead and left the hoses the way they are. Since I've got a pretty nice back panel here, it doesn't actually make contact with any of the PCB or circuitry, and it really doesn't apply any pressure to cause any sagging. Once again, just the case overall, pretty nice looking little case. Pretty happy with its build quality. You know, the joints are all very well done. The corners are secure. There's not a lot of flex in the case or anything like that. But I just keep coming back to the fact that and doesn't have cable management already built in for the back of the motherboard panel. It really just doesn't make any sense. Let me get it turned around for you guys. See, I get it turned around here, and you can see what I'm talking about. There is literally nothing back here at all, which is fine. You know, if you're going to build maybe a tiny little APU system with not much else going on. Hey guys, welcome back. So my final thoughts for the Thermaltake Urban T21. I'm kind of torn. It's a pretty nice case. It looks good, and it's a very simple build. The toolless optical drive bays, toolless hard drive bays, everything like that. You pretty much only need a screwdriver just to mount the motherboard and the power supply, and from there you're good to go. Everything else is toolless and very simple, very easy. You can pretty much build a computer in this case blindfolded if you wanted to, assuming you have any practice at all at building computers. Of course, there's no cable management, which to me is a big drawback, even for a budget case. You know, I feel like a simple cutout in the motherboard panel and a little bit of space behind the motherboard panel so I can stuff some wires in there. Of course, the cables do fit kind of behind. I showed on the side of the hard drive bays, but that still doesn't change the fact that basically my 8-pin is just wrapped around the top of the graphics card and across the front of the motherboard, which to me is just unattractive. But I'm a little bit spoiled, you know, I mean, it is what it is. It's a entry-level, kind of a budget beginner case, and for that, it's a good-looking case. It's got nice airflow, good cooling. It's well built. I mean, it's very structurally solid. You know, I grab a couple different corners and twist on it and push on it. It doesn't have a lot of flex. The corners don't get bunched up. The doors fit beautifully. The thumb screws screw in like they're supposed to, and everything lines up nicely, which is a big plus. I can't even tell you how many times I get a case that you have to almost turn sideways and stand on to be able to get a thumb screw in there. And I know a lot of you guys know what I mean. The front panel of the case itself, very good looking. The buttons on the side, I kind of wish they were just up top with the rest of the USB ports or something like that. Assuming if you've got your desk sitting there and the case is sitting to your side, you're going to have to kind of reach around or, you know, kind of go off feel to be able to get to the buttons. But that's such a minor thing, it doesn't matter. All in all, not a terrible case, but again, I'm just going to harp on cable management, do some cable management. It's really not that hard. It's literally, if I had a Dremel or something and cut some holes in that motherboard panel, viola cable management. So, I mean, it's a problem that's easily solved. That being said, I'm going to give Thermaltake and the Urban T21 a silver award. You know, a good entry-level case, and again, a solid build, and very simple to build in, as you saw in my video. So we appreciate you watching. Once again, I'm Steve Cox with High Tech Legion, signing out. Come on and join us over at our forums at www.hightechlegion.com. And give us a like over on Facebook. A little thumbs up on Facebook goes a long way. You know, share the wealth, share the knowledge, and keep up with some of our contests and things like that. You know, the more places you are, the more places we are, and the more opportunities you get. That being said, also, we have Twitter. If you're into Twitter and you follow Twitter regularly, you want updates on your phone or mobile devices or anything like that, follow us on Twitter. We're always there. So anyway, enjoy, and thanks for watching.